Hey everybody, I'm Amy Evans and I'm here for a really great NA Lit Chat interview with Nazarea Andrews. Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fantastic. I'm going to have you on tomorrow night. We're talking about release schedule, and you have a lot of experience with this both for your own book. Can you tell us a little bit about what you write?
I write new adult contemporary romance. I have the University of Brighton series, which currently has 3 titles out, and they're a series of standalone romances that all happen at the same college. And then I've got a zombie new adult book that's set about 20 years after the zombie apocalypse. And it's sexy and dark and angsty, and it's a lot of fun. It's one of my favorites. And then I just put out Girl Lost, which is a contemporary retelling of Peter Pan. And Peter Pan grows up and goes to find Wendy, and it's a lot of fun. So
I I'm not always a big fan of the fairy tale retellings, but I have to tell you I'm a sucker for anything that has to do with Peter Pan. So I've been excited about that since I first heard about it, and I'm not in reading mode because I'm in get the book out the door editing mode, but it's at the top of my to be read pile.
well, I hope you enjoy it when you get to it.
So what made you do Peter Pan? What made you think that that needed to be told, like from an NA perspective, and we wanted to see Peter growing up?
Um, okay, so what happened was I was watching Peter Pan with my kids, and Wendy went home, and I'm watching as she talks to her father about this boy and how she flew home on a ship, and I'm just like, oh my God, they would call her crazy. And what would happen to this girl? And what about Peter? How did he just let her go? And so then I started talking to my critique partner, and it just kind of snowballed, and then, yeah, I wrote a book.
One of those ideas that wouldn't let you go.
Yeah, it happened. Like I got the idea back in December, and then in February I talked to my publicist, and I'm like, I really, really want to write this, and she's like, okay, let's go for it. So we did, and I did, and it was a lot of fun. It's one of the books that I've had a lot of fun writing. Some books are hard, and this one was not. It was just super easy and a lot of fun.
So it was, you struck while the inspiration really hit you, though, and I think that that's sometimes very critical.
Yes, it is. Like some stories, I just like the characters don't cooperate, and I know where they need to go, but they're not really into going there. And with Girl Lost, it was just smooth sailing all the way through, and there was like 2 little hang-ups, but once I figured out why I was running into a problem, it was easy enough to sort out. So
Yeah, I think that for me, it's always a good lesson if there are things that I can act on immediately. It's like you're riding the wave of that, like timing and inspiration. It's the ideas that are great and that don't let go of me, and then I sit on them, and it's like you sort of lose the flow a little bit, and you make it harder on yourself.
yes, exactly.
But we also have release schedules and sequels, and hopefully you have fans. And I just,
Sure.
put something aside because I wasn't sort of focusing on my main series, and it was taking too much time. And that's also probably one of the things I think that's on our list to talk to you about tomorrow night is, you know, from a publicity standpoint and a promotional standpoint, when do you ride the wave and write what's in your mind, and when do you stick to the plan and make a schedule and, you know, follow a very set list of events and timelines?
Well, for me, when I when I sat down at the beginning of the year and wrote out my release schedule, which I do with my publicist, um, I knew what I wanted to write, and Girl Lost was not on the list. But there was something that there was a book that I knew wasn't going to do as well as I wanted it to because of the way the market's working right now. As much as I would love for dystopian to be like, woohoo, let's all buy it, it wasn't, and it's still not. So we decided that we'd put that on the back burner for a little while, and we moved Girl Lost forward. And it was a good decision, but it was also one, and I was incredibly happy about it, obviously, but it was one that was made with a business standpoint in mind. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that I would love to write. Like right now, there's this sci-fi that I would just, it's like there in my head, and I want to just sit down and write it like for the next month, and I can't because I'm on a deadline right now. So, yeah. But I mean, I do have time next month where I have a little bit of time between projects where I can work on it. So that's another thing that I found. If you stay on your deadline and you work in a little bit of leeway between projects, you can, you know, work on those things that maybe aren't on your schedule right now, but that you want to work on.
Yeah, I've sort of tried to learn that lesson myself. Unfortunately, one bled too long, and I've gotten it back under wraps now. But I think that that's a good lesson for all of us. And I've also learned, like, if I can give just a little bit of attention to some of the new projects, they are sort of willing to take a back seat. They just don't want to leave me alone completely.
Yes.
And if I give myself permission to spend like 5 hours on the deadline work and then like one thing, at least it's like a little forward momentum and you don't lose the whole, you know, energy.
Yeah, and I found that if I have a synopsis that won't leave me alone, like a story that won't leave me alone, if I write the synopsis and I set it aside for even a week or two, I come back to it with more ideas, but I haven't lost the original idea. So it's a jumping off point that allows me to get it out a little bit while still staying on target with the things that I have to do at the moment. So.
Well, that is really good advice, and I'm so excited that we're going to get to hear all kinds of more advice from you tomorrow night. We also are going to have Lynn Rush on and St. Bende, and they're both full of awesomeness.
They are.
So I'm really excited that we're going to get to talk to you again. That's going to be 9 o'clock Eastern on Google Hangouts, and everybody will be tweeting questions and comments and interacting with you that way as well.
Excellent. Yay.
Well, thank you so much, Nazarea. I just messed that up.
It's okay. Everybody can call me N. That's what everybody calls me. So.
They call you N?
Yep.
All right.
It's a lot easier.
I got it, though, right?
You did.
Okay. So I just had a mental blip. I was worried I was going to mess it up. ST just told me 3 weeks ago that I've been pronouncing her name wrong for a year and a half, so.
Awesome.
It was awesome. I was like, you didn't want to tell me this a little while back? She was like, well, you and fun.
It's kind of like when people start pronouncing it wrong. One sec. Go find Daddy. Sorry. When people start pronouncing it wrong, it's kind of awkward to be like, hey, so. But then if you don't correct them eventually, then it's like really awkward. I in college, my freshman year, the entire year, my hall monitor lady, she pronounced it wrong the entire year. And like the day that we were all packing up to leave, she figured out that she was pronouncing it wrong, and she was so upset with herself. I'm like, yeah,
that
sorry.
was how I felt. I understand that. Like, people don't do it out of disrespect, and then you don't want to upset anybody, and then it just goes on too long.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's okay.
It's all good. Well, thank you so much. I'm excited to get to hear more tomorrow, and I will talk to you then.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.